First of all, thank you for this presentation, for this invitation. I'm working in the EU IP office, and I would like to present today the last result of the Green EU trademarks. Well, the EU IP office has published so far 3 reports on green trademarks, the last one at the beginning of this year, with data until 2022. But today I will present the most fresh data with results until 2023 of the trends of green trademarks. But before I share with you this, the results, the numbers, I would like to answer 3 very simple questions. First of all, what are these green EU trademarks? Maybe some of you have heard about that, but I would like to clarify what are green EU trademarks, why it's important to monitor filings of green trademarks. And last, how does the EU IPO monitor these green trademarks? Once I clarify these 3 points, I will share the last results. So just starting about what are the green trademarks? This is the definition in green, indeed. Green EU trademark contains at least one green term in their description. So as you know, when someone registers a trademark in the EU IP office, in the Lithuanian, in any IP office, to put the name of the trademark, but also a description of the goods and services that are protected by this trademark. So we look at the description of the trademark and we look for this green term. If the trademark includes a green term, at least one, we consider it a green trademark, EU trademark. What are these green terms? Green terms are expressions included in the goods and services description that are related to the protection of the environment and sustainability. But let's think on an example. A way to protect the environment could be to reduce the emissions, the carbon emissions. And well, a good that many of us know and we see more and more on the streets are the electric cars, indeed. So an electric car would be a green a trademark that protects the electric car would be a green trademark. But not only that, electric car needs batteries, cables, sensors, many accessories, plugs, and even chargers. So any of these products that are related to electric car, a plug, if the plug is designed to charge an electric car, would include in the description electric car, and we will select it as a green EU trademark. So just to have an idea of what we are talking about. Second question, why? Why we think that it's important to monitor the evolution of green trademarks? Well, green trademarks are indicators of green innovations. So a green innovation tries to protect these solutions that minimize energy consumption, reduce emissions, or help to save water and energy. So, but why? Why these green innovations are important? Well, all of you know the EU Green Deal. The EU Green Deal was presented by the European Commission in 2019 and was approved by 2021, and is a very ambitious plan, a policy that tried to make Europe the first climate neutral economy by 2050. So it requires significant investment in green innovations. And this green innovation will be financed with a combination of public and private investments. So it's indeed a good occasion, a good opportunity for businesses in green sectors and technologies to invest in this innovation, green innovation, with the help of the European funds. 1/3 of the next generation funds will be assigned to green innovations. And as it is good for businesses, and we think there will be more and more investing in green innovations, the authorities need to monitor the efforts that businesses, but also institutions, are doing for the effective implementation of this plan. How can we monitor or track the implementation of the EU Green Deal? Well, one way is just to track the disbursement of these EU funds. Then we can see the money that the institutions are giving to the businesses to invest in green innovations. We can even monitor the firms going more than knowing just the money that is spent, number of firms that are starting to commercialize or invest in these green innovations. But, well, a survey will be expensive indeed, but we have another tool to monitor, to use as indicator of this green innovation, which are the IP rights that protect green products. You know some of these IP rights, for instance, the green patent. Probably you have known about the CCMT, climate change and mitigation technology, which protects patents, which is a type of IP right that protects green products. But in the EU IPO, we have developed another indicator, which is the Green EU trademark. As I told you, those trademarks that include in the description at least one green term. So these are important. Why? Because they help us to monitor the efforts of the institutions and businesses to support green innovations. But how? How does the EU IPO monitor these green trademarks? Well, as I told you, we look in the good and services descriptions of all filings since the beginning, since 1996, and look for those green trademarks. So we examine the description. So we are using the old register since the beginning, since 1996, with more than 2 million EU trademark applications, and these applications include more than 80 million terms. These terms are included in a harmonized database. The harmonized database has more than 86,000 terms, and we have analyzed all these data, all these terms to see which are the green trademarks in our databases. So we have two main elements. One is the inventory of harmonized green terms. My colleagues have worked a lot for more than 1 year to select on the harmonized database the list of the terms. More than 900 terms are considered green terms. And these green terms are classified in groups and categories. All this information is available in our reports indeed. And we have also developed, my colleagues, IT colleagues have developed an algorithm that reads all the description of all the more than 2 million applications to find one of these 900 terms, green terms, that determine that a trademark is a green trademark. So now let's go to see the last numbers, the last results. As I said, we have been monitoring since the beginning, since 1996, the filings, the green EU trademark filings. So here we have the absolute numbers. In dark blue, we have the number of green EU trademarks filings each year, and we see that in the last year, in 2023, we have seen more than 20,000 green EU trademarks that has at least one green term. We have seen that the maximum, the peak, has been registered in 2021 with more than 21,000 green EU trademarks. In 2022, we have seen a decrease of the number of green EU trademarks that is explained, if you see in this figure, by the red line. We see a decrease in 2022 of the green EU trademark filings from non-EU countries, while the European firms continue to increase the number of filings. At the end of the period in 2023, we see that there is a stabilization of the number of green EU trademarks in non-EU countries and an increase in EU countries by about 400 filings. This is in absolute numbers, but let's see what happens in relative numbers. Here we see the percentage of green EU trademarks as a percentage of all filings in total, in dark blue for all EU trademarks, in red non-EU countries, and in pale blue EU countries. The trend is very interesting because we have seen in 2014 a sharp decrease from the EU countries in the registration of EU trademarks. And until 2014, the percentage, the relative importance of green EU trademark was higher in EU countries than in non-EU countries. In 2014, the trend is the opposite. Now the percentage or the ratio of green EU trademark is higher in non-EU countries than in EU countries. At the end of the period in 2023, we see a total, a relative share of green EU trademark of 14% of all filings at the EU IPO are green trademarks, and is a smaller percentage in the EU countries at 13.4%, and in non-EU countries, this ratio is at 15%. As I told you, green EU trademarks are classified in groups and categories. The biggest group are represented here, and we see the higher percentage of groups that where the green terms are classified is energy conservation. Almost 1/3 of the green terms registered in 2023 are classified in energy conservation. For instance, could be the batteries. Another big percentage in pollution control, energy production, and transportation are the main groups where the green terms of 2023 are classified. But what about the trend? When we compare these groups with what happened the previous year, we have seen that only energy conservation increases. In 2022, there were at 25% of green terms in this category, 1/4. But now it increases until almost 1/3. All the other categories have decreased their participation in the green terms included in the green EU trademarks. What about the countries? The trends are different by country. Here we have the participation of EU countries in the number of green EU trademarks by each country. The first country is Germany, more than 3,000 green EU trademarks registered in the last year, in 2023. The second country, Italy, and the third one is Spain. 1,200, more than 1,200 green EU trademark has been registered in Spain in 2023. Last year, Spain was the fourth country. This year, in 2023, overpassed France. And in fact, the increase in Spain represents 1/3 of the increase of the total green EU trademark registered in the European Union. So Spain is the country among the biggest that increased the most, the number of green EU trademark filings in 2023, but there is also an increase in the Netherlands, Denmark, and Poland. In Lithuania, I can tell you that there is a small increase, not that big, but it's increasing the number of green EU trademark compared with 2022. What about non-EU countries? If you remember, we saw in the first figure that the number of green EU trademarks in 2023 is almost the same than in 2022. But if we analyze the big countries separately, we see an increase in China. So the Chinese filings increased by about 300 filings, the number of green EU trademarks. But all the other countries decreased the number of green trademarks in 2023. So Chinese increase balance out the decrease in the other countries. As you see, the trends are different by countries, but as I showed at the beginning, also by categories of green EU trademarks. And finally, I want to look more details on the EU countries at individual country level. The relative number of green EU trademarks is represented in this figure. Here we have the share of green EU trademarks among all filings in 2023. In the 27 EU countries, in the 6 biggest non-EU countries registering in the EU IPO. The first bar, with about 22%, so more than 22% of the filings are green EU trademarks, is Slovenia. It's the first time we see an EU countries leading this chart of the share of green EU trademarks. That's indeed good for Slovenia. It's true that it's not a big number of filings because Slovenia is a smaller country, but the percentage is close to 1/3, more than 1/4 of all the trademark registered in 2023. The second and third countries are Switzerland, which was the first country the previous years, and China. And we see the evolution until the countries with the lower percentage of filings that are classified as green EU trademarks, Malta and Cyprus. We see so in red you can see the non-EU countries. We see surprisingly low ratios in the US, in the United States. Less than 10% of filings in the EU IPO are green EU trademarks, and Japan is above 10, about 11%, very close to Lithuania. The percentage of Lithuanian green EU trademarks in 2023 is 10.5%. Can tell you that there is a small increase in the number, but a decrease in the percentage. It was about 11% of a green EU trademark from Lithuanian firms. It was about 11% in 2022, and now 10.5%, a small decrease in this share. As I told you, some countries increase a lot their number and share of green EU trademark. If we look at those countries that improve their ranking in this graphic the most, compared with what happened in 2022, that is the last report published by the EU IPO, we see that Croatia improved a lot, has improved its ranking 17 positions. And now it's about the 10th position, so it was almost the last country the previous year. Denmark improved a lot. We see also, Denmark improved the position in this ranking, 13 positions, but also Lithuania, Romania, and the Netherlands. The Netherlands is now the 4th country in this ranking, the second European one, because we see the first one is Slovenia, and improved 5 positions, and Romania improved a lot also. It's now, I think, the 5th country in this graph, and it was 10 positions below in only 1 year. And some other countries indeed have declined, are now in a worse position, the Czech Republic, but also Poland. If you remember, Poland was one of the countries that increased the number of green EU trademark, but relative to the number of filings, they decreased the percentage and the position in this ranking. Italy also worsened the position in this ranking. Japan and the United States, the 2 countries that are in a worse position among the non-EU countries. Well, we will continue to at the EU IPO. We are not publishing the reports, but we have all this information available for the IP offices. We can share all the results with you indeed. And we want to continue updating this, monitoring this evolution to see whether this recovery, the small recovery in this last year, will continue in the future, and also to monitor very closely which are the green EU trademark that register the most, which are the categories of green EU trademark, and which countries. Because as I told you, the behavior is quite different by countries. You can contact me in case you have any question. I think you can answer us now, or just contact my office, and we will be very happy to help you with the methodology of the results of these trademarks. Thank you.